Today, we're going on a journey to explore the profound symbolism of two ancient pillars. Now, this isn't just going to be some dry architectural history lesson. Oh, no. We're going to uncover how these pillars offer an incredible framework for finding balance, for transformation, and really for self-improvement in our own lives, right here and now.
And this sentence, this is our key. It's a beautiful, elegant synthesis of two totally distinct yet powerful ideas that we're about to unpack. You could say it holds the secret to understanding not just the pillars themselves, but the dynamic living balance they represent.
So, to really get a grip on the philosophy behind these pillars, we have to travel back in time, all the way back to their origin, the entrance of the legendary Temple of King Solomon.
Historically speaking, these were two magnificent, massive columns cast in bronze by the master artisan himself, Hiram Abiff, and their main function was to be a gateway. They physically marked the transition from the ordinary, everyday world, what was often called the profane world, into the hallowed, sacred space within. They were a clear, imposing boundary.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Their true significance goes so far beyond architecture. See, these pillars embody a fundamental principle of the universe, the law of duality. They literally represent the opposing forces that shape all of existence.
So, on one side, we have Jachin. Its name means he shall establish, and it symbolizes things like mercy, order, moral law. You can think of it as the active solar principle. And on the other side, you have Boaz, which means in strength. It represents severity, raw energy, self-will, kind of like the passive lunar principle. They're a perfect complementary opposition.
And think about it, right? Strength without any order is just chaos. But order without any strength to back it up, well, that's just stagnant and brittle. It's exactly like an electrical circuit. You absolutely need both a positive and a negative charge to create power. And in the same way, a well-lived life requires a conscious, deliberate harmony between these two forces.
So, the crucial point here isn't just about the pillars themselves. The real magic, the real transformation, it happens in the space you occupy as you pass between them. That threshold, that's where the real work gets done.
Let's start with a really fascinating historical detail. The original pillars were actually hollow. And the practical reason for this was pretty clever. It created a safe place to store and protect foundational documents, these constitutional scrolls, kind of like an ancient, fireproof, flood-proof safe.
But let's take that a step further, into the symbolic. What if that hollowness is a metaphor for our inner world? A space where we protect our most cherished values, our core principles, our own personal sacred scrolls. This represents that protected internal man, which is so distinct from the external man that we present to the world every day.
You know, there's a fantastic term for this that comes from anthropology, liminality. It describes that kind of disorienting, in-between state of transition. Passing between the pillars is a liminal act. It's the moment you leave one state of being, the profane, and you prepare to enter another, higher, more sacred one. It's the very doorway of transformation itself.
And this brings us to the ultimate goal of the journey. This isn't about choosing which pillar you like better, strength or establishment, mercy or severity. No, it's about something far more profound.
The goal is not to choose a side. The goal is to become the third pillar, the one who walks the middle path, embodying the balanced synthesis of both. You become the living bridge that unites these two powerful opposites right inside yourself. This is the middle path, the great reconciliation of opposites. The alchemists had a name for it, the coincidentia oppositorum. By walking this path, the individual stops just visiting a temple. They become a living temple, perfectly balancing their own inner strength with guiding wisdom, and their personal will with moral law.
So we've talked about personal transformation. Now let's zoom out a bit and see how this scales up, connecting the individual not just to themselves, but to the entire cosmos.
In many traditions, you'll see these pillars topped with two globes. One is the terrestrial globe, and it represents our duties right here on Earth, our responsibilities to society and to each other. The other is the celestial globe, which stands for our spiritual aspirations and our connection to the infinite. Together, they show that the third pillar, that balanced individual, becomes the bridge between the earthly and the divine.
Okay, this is a beautiful and complex philosophy, for sure. But how do we actually apply it? How can this ancient framework help us navigate our modern lives? Let's spend a minute reflecting on a few questions that come right out of this wisdom.
First, think about your work or your career. Are you all gas and no steering wheel? Are you just pushing forward with raw ambition, with pure drive, but maybe neglecting the ethical framework or the long-term plan that gives that ambition meaning? That's the search for the balance of Boaz and Jachin.
Now, let's turn to your relationships. Do you lean so far towards mercy that you end up enabling bad behavior? Or are you so severe and rigid with your rules that you leave no room at all for grace and understanding? The middle path here is all about compassionate discipline.
And what about your personal habits? You know, when you fail to stick to a new routine, is it really because you lack the willpower, the strength? Or is it because you fail to create a stable, supportive system, the establishment, that would have made success so much easier? It's almost always a failure of one or the other.
Oh, this is a big one for anyone who loves to learn. Are you just gathering information, building this beautiful library of knowledge inside your mind, but never finding the strength or the courage to actually go out and apply it in the world? That's an unbalanced establishment right there.
And finally, let's bring it all home, back to that hollow space within. What are your non-negotiable values? What are your sacred scrolls that you protect at your very core? And how does truly knowing what is established inside of you give you the unwavering strength to act with integrity out in the world? Because that is the essence of becoming the third pillar.